What's up guys, LegomationStudio here with another Bionicle Classic review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Toa Nuva. Figure I might as well go with them because we'll move upwards, and the last I'll ever review are the Toa Mata. That'll just be a cool kind of classic way to end it. So quickly I just want to look at the canisters. These are the only two I was able to get really quickly out of the boxes. As you can see, they differentiated from their old canisters. Just by a little bit. They were in the same size, same circle, and almost the same top, except the lid for the new guys was that piece from the Bohrok that you would use to make their head sprout out, but like four of them placed in the middle. Don't know exactly what that meant, but you know, it kind of had that similar shape on the outside where you could put pegs, but in the old ones we had an actual face, a Bionicle face, and for this we just had some gears. So that was really the only difference. These also, you know, they rotated on the outside. We'll get into that when we review them finally. Are there instruction booklets in here? No. I would like to look at them, but I think we're good. You guys don't care about instructions. So these are the canister differences. Pretty much it. Now let's just take a look at each and every Toa Nuva. First we will look at my favorite, my personal favorite since day one, Tahu Nuva. Now the Nuva, the thing about these new guys is they all had big masks. I don't know if you guys remember, but when I opened up my first Toa Nuva and pulled out the mask, I was like, whoa! And my first Toa Nuva, which I'll review next, was Onua actually, not Tahu, interesting enough. But either way, we could compare the masks and you'll kind of get what I'm going for. So if you zoom in there, cameraman, you can see...
Woman.
Do I really have to specify? Okay, camera woman. If you can see, the old masks were much more thin and light. The new masks were chunkier and heavier. And so I wasn't really used to that. And so the difference was, well, pretty crazy. So that's just one thing that was different about them. The next thing, of course, is the body build. The old body was much more skinnier, and we didn't have all this armor. Also, arms were different ones. For the Toa Mata, one arm was different than the other. In these ones, a lot of them go more simpler, as you'll see in the next that we go over. But anyways, just in comparison, the old Toa Mata looked skinnier, and they wanted to make the new ones look cooler. So what did they do? They added this cool silver armor. Now, this was used throughout the rest of Bionicle in the next coming years, just for 1 or 2 years. But all the Toa Nuva were known for having these armor originally. If you take it off, he looks like a skinny nympho, you know, just, you gotta add all of these things to him, and then we know he means business. So, we can quickly look at just kind of the functions. It was the same, and I liked that they did that, that same gear function that you would move their arms like so, and you could knock each other's masks off, although at this point that purpose is kind of gone. But same body build, same function, but different weapon too. What was awesome about Tahu Nuva was that these were his kind of lava swords. But if you wanted some extra fun, you could turn them into a lava board. And man, did I have fun with this. I think you can do this with Kopaka as well. He gets like skis. They all have their kind of like weapons that they can use for different things. This is what we didn't have with Toa Mata. Because with Tahu Mata, his only armor was that little ball. I mean, what is that going to protect you from? They never even explained. And then the only really thing you could do with his sword was go like this. And that's not a board. That doesn't count. So when they made the Toa Nuva, they knew they also had to give them a little more functionality with their swords. Now, they were all given silver weapons, and people who go, you know, in 2008, LEGO had that weird, like, silver fetish with the Fantaka. I think it's just the Toa Nuva. You know, they always had silver weapons, and so they just brought that back again. So, yeah. Awesomeness. We have a flame and a spear. It's half and half. He has that Mata orange and Mata red. Absolutely love this figure. Let's head on to the next one. So here's Onua. Now Onua is kind of that hunchback, shorter version with the function of moving his arms as well, like so. He's always been known to have his mask, instead of attaching right here, which is what normal Toa would have, he attached a separate one right here on his actual armor. So that gave him that shorter stature that Onua is known for. Now he also has these two weapons, Now, there are alternate pieces, which I don't think I have at the moment, but they would come with the Toa, and you could put Onuva's weapons here under his feet, slide the peg through, and he'd kind of have these skis, except he goes underground, so they would kind of just chalk up all the dirt in the walls in the caves. But they would attach to his feet. Looked really awesome. If he was riding in a tunnel of rocks during like a avalanche, he'd look pretty badass. But as far as his weapons go, the most average he would go would hold. Now his two arms limbs are actually Bohrok limbs, which is interesting. It gives him that short stature again. But that's kind of his character. Gray and black. They stuck with the color scheme. Some more gray though. I believe in his old version he had more black, at least from what it looked like, because his claws were black. So this was a little different bit of a weapon, but like you can look at the detail and you can see the gears and the chainsaw look that it has to it, and I just absolutely loved it. Oh yeah, and the mask, just freaking huge compared to the old masks. Anyways, that's Onuva. Let's go ahead and take a look at Pohatu. Pohatu also kind of has that strange build that they did with the Mata. Instead of having his body upwards like this, they actually turn it upside down, and so a head doesn't even go here. They completely redo it to give him this wide waist size, and I don't know if they wanted to portray that he was fat or that it's because he can run fast. Because, as we know, Pohatu has the mask of speed, and so it made sense to have the function be the leg kicking rather than the arms moving, and that's what they did. Now another thing, instead of the old Mata tan brown, they give a silver extra lining on his feet for these shoe boosters, whatever you want to call them. Then for his weapons, he had these two pincers, and what you could do with them is you could take the pieces off of his shoulders and put it together. Let's see how fast we can do this. Ding, 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 ding. And it could be like this one, like, rock ball that he could hold and throw or kick with his feet. And that was the idea behind it. So, kind of cool. Not as cool as the skis or the lava board, but still, you could tell LEGO was trying to make this set unique as possible. And I think they did a job well done. I mean, an upside down body, function with the legs. Although it was a repeat from his Mata set, it had been 2 years since they released Toa. So people weren't that fresh in their memory. So, awesome. I love the color scheme, of course, because the old brown was just so cool until they started doing orange and stuff. Just, ugh. But alright. Now, let's move on to Leila. Leila has an awesome color scheme. If you're a fan of green, you always love Leila. Pretty much, he's the same armor, the silver, same function of moving the arms. But what he could do was he could actually fold back his katanas, if we can get it like so. And then this kind of function would be his flight function, and he would fly off, that sort of thing. That's what he would do. Now, I know if I look on his canister, you can kind of see he's in that position. And they never really showed him wearing them as a sword. Or wait, did they? Zoom in here. Wait, I think they did. They actually show his two spears matching up to be a sword. So you could do that if you want it like that or like that. So he could have a nice long blade that he would use. But that's what Leila could do with his weapons. Not as cool as the surfboard or the skis in my opinion, but still really awesome. It's a long step away from the axe weapon that he had in his Mata version. Now let's take a look at Kopaka! Anyways, I love Kopaka. He was my second favorite next to Tahu always because I liked white and black mixed together. Now, this Kopaka had more gray going for him, but he has that same body build. The silver looks really nice in contrast with his white, and he has that shield, except this time, instead of gears pointing through, it's one solid, flat disc that he could use to throw Matoran on and they would sled on it. Anyways, I like that. They kept that old weapon. They also give that classic, all the Toas of ice. The white guys had the little telescope on their eye. They continued to do that in his mask. Really awesome. I could not help but say that when I first got this, it looked a lot like Tahu Mata's mask. with the scope. I feel like if they put this in red and gave it to Tahu, it would have looked more cool. Because look, it looks almost the same as far as shape goes, but it's not. It's supposed to be like the old Kopaka mask, just kind of in a new Nuva form. Now, this was similar. He had a similar function to Onua. These would also be skis. They could act as skis, and like I said, it would come with a peg that I believe is in his canister somewhere. Pegs that you would put on his feet, and he could sled off onto avalanches, onto snow hills, and totally get away from his enemies in time, or chase them down if that's what he was doing in the moment. But that's the function that his weapons would do. Also, you'd have to put them like this. You couldn't put them like this or like this because the little piece would bump into his hand. So you kind of have to put them in opposite directions like that. But I think it looked cool. Really awesome. Cool ski function that same with Onua had. But I love Kopaka. Second favorite next to Tahu. Now, let's take a look at Gali. Now, girl fans loved Gali, and I loved Gali too. And boy, was the function that she was given great. Now, her mask I thought was really interesting. It's really funny. Did you know that this mask was called the Cow Cow? Doesn't it look like a cow to you? It looks like a cow, to be honest. So I find it kind of interesting they called it the Kanoe Cow Cow. Just always thought that was very funny. Anyways, the silver armor looks great with the light blue. She has the same color scheme she did with her Mata figure, except we don't have a clear mask, which was kind of the highlight of the original Gali, was that her mask was clear. But with the Toa Nuva in the new Lego plastic, they didn't want to make any clear pieces. So, what should you do with your weapons? Well, her weapons are kind of a watery paddle looking, and they had a turbine at the end. And what you could do with these, which was totally awesome, you could put them right here, I believe, on her feet. Let's look at the canister. You would lay them down flat. The gears actually stayed on her hands. My bad. It's been a long time since I've played with any of the Toa Nuva. So you would take the actual weapon part, not the turbine, put them like this, flat on her feet, and she could paddle away and use them as fins, and while at the same time using her turbines to make her swim away, like so. So really cool. Sorry, I don't have the pegs to put these actually in to work. They really added to her kind of underwater-esque feeling, and I think it was a great idea. Anyways, awesome functions, awesome weapons. Gotta love Gali. Now let's take a look at all the Toa Nuva together. Alright, so here are all the Toa Nuva together. In general, LEGO did an awesome job on making a new Toa form. They considered to stay with the same body build, but they added new weapons, new armor, new functions, and new masks, and I approve of all of them. It was a great step up, and us Bionicle fans at the ages of, 8 or 9, which was my age when I got these, absolutely loved them. My favorite has to be Tahu, but that's just my personal preference. Post in the comments section below, which Toa Nuva was your favorite? Did it change from the Mata, or was it the same? They had personalities and, Kanohi powers and elements of their own, which could have added to your, or gender too, could have added to your preference. But in general, even set-wise, I preferred Tahu, because I like the lava board, and I like red, and he has the color red. So, awesome, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10 LEGO for making these awesome figures back in 2003 to revamp the new Toa. Next, guys, we will be taking a look at the Rahkshi. But until then, thanks for watching this Bionicle Classic review, and this is LegomationStudio signing out.